Well, today, theater is the topic, and we'll talk about how we can use theater, how people are using theater in order to make people more aware of climate issues and options. And this presentation, Theater and Climate Change, will delve into the intersection of art and activism. I like that. Theater, with its unique ability to bridge fact and emotion, stands out as a potent tool by making complex issues accessible and relatable. Theater is more than just entertainment. And that's one thing that I really think is significant about all the arts, is yes, the arts can be entertaining. Yes, the arts can be beautiful and can take our mind off our problems. But art also can be a very powerful tool, whether it's visual arts or performing arts, whatever, literature, whatever kind of art form. It also has been recognized forever in terms of giving people a kind of insight into ideas, emotions, possibilities that they might not otherwise have encountered. Starting with those images on the walls of the caves. And forging connections between performers and you, the audience, is really important. And today we have three presenters who are going to talk to us about how they have used or have seen theater used in order to raise awareness and promote action. And the first of them is Susan Schuld, who is Associate Professor in the School of Theater and Dance at the University of Florida.
Yes. And today, the three of us are going to illuminate how does theater play a part in helping us build our awareness. And what we have in theater is the ability to mix art, emotion, critical dialogue, and that makes it a powerful medium to explore complex issues. And so with all of the dramatics, we can be a wake-up call or an emotional roller coaster. I believe that theater is energy personified. It's raw, it's live, it's in the moment in a way that streaming, or when I'm in the safety of my living room, I can never replicate. We were participating in an art form that demands our full focus, like the performers on stage and the audience. It's turning us from passive observer to an active participant. Okay, get this. There's a research study that was done proving how live theater connects. In 2017, it's an article from Broadway World, states researchers at the University of College London in the Division of Psychological and Language Sciences, they found that audiences' hearts synchronize when watching a play. So what the team did was they measured the hearts of 12 audience members watching the performance, and the team found that the emotional responses and the hearts were responding in unison, with their heart rate speeding up and slowing down at the same time. So theater is immediate, it's evolving, and it's always different. So although the script is the same, every performance is uniquely different every time it happens. Title there, great, thank you. It's an empathy gym. It's where we get to have a workout where we're strengthening human connection. And it's okay. But can theater really make a difference? Next slide. Yeah. I think so. I wholeheartedly think so. I mean, theater has been a platform and a leader in social change for centuries. Theater has the power to reflect social issues, and really important, it's one of the ways that art is helping climate change is through an emotional appeal. Theater can bridge fact and emotion. Theater can turn emotion into action, and while I can't change policy, maybe I can influence the change makers. So through compelling narratives, we're looking at taking complex issues and making them relatable. And reveal, this is just a snippet. I just tried to curate really quickly some plays that have been happening recently. And here are some of the topics that they're looking at in centering in the play. We've got Hurricane Sandy. They're talking about Greenland. I love this one. A Greek god Dionysus of theater. It comes down to restore Earth. I would love that god to come down and help us. We've got the Arctic. We've got tsunamis and Fukushima and climate refugees. The beauty in theater is that it's an out-of-the-box thinking, right? That productions are always trying to find a way to challenge norms and put a spin on what is expected. Theater really isn't just about the stories that you see on stage. It's also about the gears that are turning in our head afterwards. From back in the day to now, theater has been developing this crazy ability to mix art and emotion and real talk. And while challenging the norms and shaking up the status quo, it allows us to dive into how we can have epic mirrors of what's happening and allow us to have wild dreams for a positive future. Right. And I believe that theater is contributing to a more empathetic and educated and socially aware society. That's why I continue to do what I do on a daily basis. The climate crisis has sometimes been referred to as a crisis of the imagination. And the phrase refers, possibly, to our inability to grasp the magnitude and violence of the changes that we are facing. Imagination is the currency of theater artists. We use our imagination to create stories that will support us through and lift us up in this transformative moment.
Okay, Beverly Ward. She is the field secretary for Earth Care, Southeastern Yearly Meeting of the Religious Society of Friends, Quakers, and co-clerks the Quaker Earth Care Witness United Nations Working Group. Her related experience includes conducting research and providing technical assistance to communities and local, state, and federal agencies on environmental and social justice, housing, and transportation issues.
My charge is to help groups discern what they should be doing about the care of the earth. And then I play with other Quakers and other groups of like mind. Both John and I have theater backgrounds. And when you're doing this type of environmental work, there's lots of pieces to it, including grieving, trying to affect change. The photo you see here is John and I performing this play called Failed Experiment. And we're two aliens talking about the Earth as being a failed experiment. And one of the aliens wants to do a reboot because that alien loved dinosaurs. And so this is a way to talk about climate change. We do playback theater also. So what is playback theater? Playback is an international form where the actors, musicians, and conductor, who's like a director, who helps the storyteller, play back information, ideas, stories from the audience, and talk about power. People, the social piece of this is that the charge is to really get to people whose stories aren't told. So we use the forms to tell us, not so much to repeat back what you said, but where did that, what you said, land with us? And that's what it is. I'll go a little bit deeper into that. Jonathan Fox was one of the founders of Playback Theater, and Jonathan Fox says, our kind of theater recreates in a modern way that old-fashioned form of a community being together and finding stories which are not only entertaining but also helpful. And when we are playing back an idea, it kind of goes out. You can get these echoes, am I playing back an archetype? Am I playing back, how does it land with me as an actor? What did I hear? And these are the connections that you were talking about that we build, that we share collectively. And this is why theater is so important, because I can tell you and I do know some about climate, but when I ask you, what's your earliest memory from being outside as a child? Everybody's eyes go, oh my goodness, I was running down the street or I was in the woods, or, I was fishing. Yeah. So now I've opened up your heart. Okay. So it's a challenge, but we've done playback during the pandemic. We even had people, there were people from internationally who participated with us. So the other piece, some of these other photos that you saw of John and I together, we take part in Climate Change Theater Action, which was started by a group called the Arctic Cycle. It began in 2013, and every other year, to coincide with the Conference of Parties, like the Paris Climate Agreement, people from all over the world who agree to collaborate get access to about 50 plays from international playwrights. All you have to do is email them and say, I want to collaborate. Collaboration does not mean you have to go out to Party City and buy a lime green bodysuit. You can actually just get the plays, have a reading in your living room, just have a reading. But what it does is that being together, that thinking about and the art is just wonderful. So climatechangetheateraction.com. They have a theme. You can also look at the YouTube channel to see other performances. Yes. Okay. So why do we do it? Community building. It really does, you bring a group together, that happens. It's also it's very much, being a Quaker, peace building. How can we talk about difficult subjects? And this is one way to have some. And as you can tell, I'm kind of silly. It's a lot of fun to do this. Thank you very much again for this opportunity.
I really enjoyed that. That was wonderful. And that's Climate Change Theater Action. Okay, finally, our last speaker today is Sue Blythe. And after earning a master's degree in education, Sue taught in elementary grades for several years. As her 3 daughters came into the world, she began a career as a volunteer peace educator, engaging all ages in the performing, visual, and literary arts. She worked as a reduce, reuse, recycle lady for the Alachua County Waste Management, developing a countywide environmental education program. And that program evolved in her imagination for the next 20 years and is now coming to life with the help of young people and climate theater. She founded the Climate Collaboratory, a project of We the World and a growing network of partners. Sue dedicates her work to her 9 grandchildren and future generations.
And I'm Sue Blythe with the Climate Collaboratory, and we are learning to cooperate, collaborate, and co-create solutions for a sustainable, just, and peaceful future. Hello, it's me, Great Grandma Sage, on the road to 2030, 2050, and beyond. I'm telling a collaborative storytelling adventure with real people and fictional characters that you see here. Some of the real people that I'm working with right now are from the Star Center Theater. And the reason I love to do this is that my young people become so excited by the possibility that we can make a difference in the world. I always start my workshops with the kids and adults as with a quotation that is the opening, the preamble of the Earth Charter. And it says, "We stand at a critical moment in Earth's history, a time when humanity must choose its future. As the world becomes increasingly interdependent and fragile, the future at once holds great peril and great promise. To move forward, we must recognize that in the midst of a magnificent diversity of cultures and life forms, we are one human family and one Earth community with a common destiny. We must join together to bring forth a sustainable global society founded on respect for nature, universal human rights, economic justice, and a culture of peace. Towards this end, it is imperative that we, the peoples of Earth, declare our responsibility to one another, to the greater community of life, and to future generations." So the Earth Charter came out in the year 2000. And when I read it, it's almost like poetry. There are 16 principles in the 4 pillars, they call them: respect and care for the community of life, ecological integrity, social and economic justice, democracy, nonviolence, and peace. And when we're thinking of climate change, we're not really thinking about all of those unless you begin to see it as an integrated, interdependent whole, where we need all of those things, and we need people working on all of those. So back in the year 2000, when it first came out, I saw clearly in my mind a theater production that just had to be done about this story. And in fact, I did put one together with young people at our Baha'i Center. Very small production, but man, it just meant the world to me that I could do something through theater with young people, and it makes a big difference in their lives. So, principle number 14 of the Earth Charter says, "Provide all, especially children and youth, with educational opportunities that empower them to contribute actively to sustainable development." So that's what I tried to do. And I work with the children at Star Center Theater. This is something that we did together 2 years ago.
Welcome to the Climate Collaboratory. It's me, Great Grandma Sage, in the year 2050. My great-grandson Leaf wants to know about the early days of the Earth Charter century.
Great Grandma Sage, tell me about the beginning of the collaborative storytelling adventure.
Ah, yes, I remember it well. Way back in 2022, Pacha and Paco were making a video on the road to 2030, 2050, and beyond.
Let's tell the story of how the human family came together to make a world that works for all.
Okay, we'll need to get the big picture first. We want to see the whole planet, home to 100% of humanity and the community of life on Earth.
I can see it now. There are 200 miles in space circling the human race.
On 200 miles in space, circling the human race, wondering, will we win or lose it all?
We'll need some climate science here to show the urgency of the climate emergency. Attention, attention, code red for humanity. The Earth's temperature is getting way too warm. The balance of nature has been upset. The tree of life is in danger. If we don't turn things around soon, global warming will get totally out of control.
So Angela Terrell is the woman who brings this all together with the children at Star Center Theater. And she has just been such a wonderful part of this. And I wanted to share something that she said about this process of collaboration to bring people into the climate conversation.
First of all, I just want to shout out and say, Sue, this vision that you had over 20 years ago, it is coming into fruition. I'm glad that we're gathered here today to talk about aspects of it, but not only that, is to put it into action. Songwriters, directors, advisors, all of these things are needed. This production that we're putting on, we get ready to get to the heart of the matter. These entities are coming together to add to the playwriting and to the scripting and that kind of thing. And then finally, when they put it all together, we're going to have this awesome presentation. And I'd like to say that this is an awesome project. I'm so glad to be a part of it. And all of us come together to make this world that we live in a better place and to leave a legacy and a safe and productive earth for those that are following us for years to come.
So the production that she was working toward with these young people was called the Climate Conversation Show. And it took place for Earth Day last year, 2023, at the Star Center Theater. And they even had a role for me in the year 2050, looking back from our much more sustainable future, looking back on the night that the kids at Star Center Theater performed the first Climate Conversation Show. So we're planning to do this again and again, and each year I expect it's going to get better and better. So the high school kids really put their hearts and souls into this thing. This young man in the front is Caleb Little Thomas. He wrote 5 original songs for this play on the topics of planet, people, partnerships, peace, and prosperity. The 5 P's that relate to those 17 Sustainable Development Goals of the United Nations. The middle school students put on little skits about each of those 5 P's. And the elementary school students danced their hearts out, and they were doing Michael Jackson's Man in the Mirror. So they were all committing to make a change. And then the high school students interviewed 4 of us from the community. And this is the heart of the climate conversation in action, that the young people are reaching out to the community to see who is doing what for a sustainable, just, and peaceful future.
Throughout human history, people have told stories about how the universe was created and how life began. and how the human family came to populate the whole earth. And in each part of the world, people tell stories about past generations and their own local history.
And every one of us has our own story to tell about this critical moment in Earth's history.
So the story that we're telling right now is Alachua County's bicentennial climate story. And we're looking at the environmental and social changes right here in our part of the world from 1824, when our county was founded, to today, when we find so many people who are doing wonderful work for a cleaner, greener future. So, as I said, we work with real people and fictional characters. So our storybook characters went to the Real Life Hawthorne Sustainability and Resilience Summit, which was just held a couple of weeks ago. It was a very rainy, dreary day out. It was just after Helene passed through. And we realized that we have a huge responsibility to do things here as quickly as we can. And this particular summit was put on by the NAACP Environmental and Climate Justice Committee. And they brought together mayors and commissioners from around the county, as well as many of the climate organizations that are helping to get the word out in the community and do service of different kinds. And and of course, bringing in new people into this climate conversation. So that's kind of what we mean by the climate conversation in action. So our fictional characters are taking that event and using it to launch what we call the Climate Caravan. And we are using all kinds of zero carbon transportation from the city and county electric buses and cars, and adding in all of the people-powered modes of transportation. And up on the left there, you can see our story wagon, which is part of our collaborative storytelling adventure. So we're visiting each of the small cities in Alachua County during the month of November. And this is all just story. It's not really happening yet, but we want to see it happen for real next year so that we all become part of this collaborative storytelling adventure. Our characters in the story are going to go to the Alachua County Climate Summit that is being hosted by our Alachua County government at Santa Fe downtown on November 16th. And we hope that some of you will want to come down and listen to what's happening in our county. They'll be launching the draft of their climate action plan. And so next year, 2025, they want to have community climate conversations. And so our fictional characters will be following all of that and helping to bring especially young people into the climate conversation. So if we do it year by year, getting more and more people involved, we can plan to win the global goals that the United Nations set in the year 2015 for the year 2030. And so these last 6 years, we have to do some wonderful work to help create a sustainable, just, and peaceful future. And then in the year 2050, when we are going to celebrate the Earth Charter's 50th anniversary, we're also celebrating the Earth's temperature coming back down. And I like to tune in to all of the people who are now saying it is entirely possible that we can still stop the emissions, the carbon pollution that is changing the climate, and draw down the greenhouse gases so that we really can start to reverse global warming. And I'd like to ask the children to join us in it's almost like a prayer that was stated in the year 2000 when the Earth Charter was launched. And these are the closing words. Let ours be a time remembered for the awakening of a new reverence for life, the firm resolve to achieve sustainability, the quickening of the struggle for justice and peace, and the joyful celebration of life. And so we invite all of you and people all throughout Alachua County to join us in finding and drawing in the human, material, and spiritual resources. And Interfaith Climate Group has a monthly devotional and climate conversation that we tell this story. This is where it's coming from. That we believe it's a mighty spiritual enterprise that we are involved in, learning to live together as one human family and one earth community with a common destiny. So we're looking for volunteers of all ages who are willing to help in this climate conversation in action. And the Climate Collaboratory is a project of We the World and a growing network of partners. And you see many of these. And we would love to see the ILR, Institute for Learning and Retirement, as one of our sponsors. And so if we can continue this conversation here, we can see how we might do that. And I thank you all for the opportunity to share.
And what I love about talking to Sue is that she always has that wonderful quality called hope that is so important. We need hope. We need the options. We need to figure out how this might be done and not give up and just say, it's way past my, pay grade or something. So anyway, she's an example. These other individuals that are here with us today are examples. The artists that I've talked about in the other sessions are examples of people coming together and taking action and not just giving up and hiding under their pillow and saying, I can't do this. We can do something. We can help. We can make this happen. Thank you so much for joining us. And I think this was a really beautiful session. Yes, thank you.